something up in their room to keep it. And
that's what keeps it up.
It was hot. It was hot at certain times, but absolutely gorgeous. And I've not had the opportunity to go to the Callaway Garden one yet, but I hear wonderful things about that. So maybe this year I'll take the family up there. But that is breathtaking. Wow. So peaceful looking, too.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I think we have time before we go live. Just want to give you one last look before we get into another hour of news, weather, and sports. Tracking the storm, the latest on Tropical Storm Michael, about 90 miles northeast of Macon, 50-mile-an-hour max winds. He's getting weaker, and he is humming right along, moving away from the area northeast at about 21 miles an hour. The good news is, after he passes through or actually gets further and further away, we have some absolutely gorgeous weather on the way. We've been waiting for fall, and that's what kind of weather we've got coming up.
Well, the morning after Michael. Welcome to First News today, everyone. I'm Josh Pate.
I'm meteorologist Dana Barker. Like Josh said, Hurricane Michael leaving his mark on the area. Sumter County in America is right here, arguably one of the hardest hit places in the viewing area.
We'll have a full report live from the Windsor Hotel in downtown Americus straight ahead.
Thank you, gentlemen. Plus, an update in the case of the missing Washington Post journalist.
WLTC First News Today starts right now.
And good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, the morning after Michael. He's gone, but he's left some things behind. Josh is on assignment this morning in Americus. Hurricane Michael, now Tropical Storm Michael. The storm causing major damage all across the southeast. Sumter County feeling the effect.
What a morning it's sure to be around here. Cleanup is about to be underway in Americus. We're at Sumter County. We're live here outside the historic Windsor Hotel. It's normally a very bustling place. It's been a ghost town since yesterday. We rolled in around 4 o'clock. Officials told us a strict curfew had been placed and it was adhered to. Again, ghost town, the best way to describe downtown Americus from the time we got here until now. And moving forward this morning, that will be lifted once the sun comes up a little bit later on. Again, we rolled in here about 4 o'clock. Michael rolled in a little bit later on. We battened down the hatches and we were here at the Windsor Hotel. And meteorologist Miller Robson and Dana Barker, of course, talking a little bit more about the weather aspect, but how about the damage here in Americus and the surrounding area? We ID'd Sumter County as probably the portion of our viewing area that was due to see the most significant damage and the strongest winds and effects from Hurricane Michael, and we pretty much believe that panned out. We saw pretty significant tree damage. I would say most of the structural damage that we saw once we were able to get back out on the street last night after the bulk of this storm moved through was associated with tree damage. I do want to tell you we rolled onto the campus, or tried to at least, of Georgia Southwestern State University. Couldn't get much further than the entrance. One of the biggest trees that we saw down was indeed blocking the entrance to Georgia Southwestern State University. The estimates that we had last night, albeit unofficial, by our count was probably about 75 to 80% of the town of Americus without power. Again, because of the curfew, because of a lot of downed trees and power lines, we haven't really been able to venture out much past a 1 or 2 mile radius from the hotel here. We hope to do that as day breaks here in a couple of hours. So the scene in Americus, trees down, you can see behind me here, there is a canopy, a part of a roof that's fallen on a car here. That's about the extent of the structural damage that we've seen around here. Again, we know our neighbors to the southwest and, of course, in the Florida Panhandle, along with south and southern portions of Georgia and Alabama, dealing with much worse. So all things considered, based on what we expected could possibly happen here in Americus, some officials breathing an early sigh of relief, but a historic storm nonetheless. Michael now pulling away, and the cleanup begins. Fortunately for the people here in Americus, they'll probably measure that cleanup a lot more in days and weeks instead of months and perhaps even years. We'll have meteorologist Dana Barker along in just a few seconds with a full update from the weather side of things. As for myself, I'm Josh Pate, reporting live from Americus, Georgia for WLTZ First News.
All right, Josh, and we're going to check in with Dana, who's live on the scene here in just a bit down there in Americus. Let's take a look real quick here from the Weather Center, tracking the storm. He's Tropical Storm Michael now, about 90 miles, probably further now than that, northeast of Macon. He's humming right along, moving northeast at about 21 miles an hour, max winds of about 50, so he is getting weaker. He's pulling away from our area. As you can see, we're looking pretty good. Maybe a few drops of rain lingering this morning, but as we get into the afternoon, we're going to dry out, and we have some really nice weather on the way. Let me step out of the way and just give you some some of the storm reports that we have coming in here as well. Power lines reported down here locally in near Macon Road and Wells Drive there at the intersection here in Columbus. Trees and power lines down on Juniper Trail and Oak Mountain Estates, northeast Talbot County. Widespread power outages and several trees down on houses in Sumter County. We're going to check in with Dana here in just a bit more on that. Widespread power outages in Stewart and Webster County. And we've got a lot of power outages around our area here in Columbus, all around uptown Columbus near Front Avenue, 7th Street and 8th Street. Also, still several spots in Oakland Park up and down Beatrice Avenue near Wise Street here in Columbus. Also the Morningside area, Warm Springs Court, a couple of areas there with power out houses there. That's just off Warm Springs Road. If you go to our or our Facebook page, rather, the WLTZ First News Facebook page, I've got the links for Georgia Power and Alabama Power if you want to see where the outages are. We feared that this storm would turn deadly, and unfortunately we have at least one report of one fatality after a tree fell on a home near Greensboro, northwest of Tallahassee, Florida. And we did have a tornado touchdown here in Georgia, but it was outside of our viewing area to the northeast, Crawford County, Georgia. Multiple structures damaged along with trees and power lines down on Flint River Estates Road on Highway 128 west of Roberta. So that's the extent of some of the reports and whatnot that we have here locally. Dana Barker, staff meteorologist, one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet when it comes to weather, down in Sumter County live. Dana, standing by down there in Americus. We've heard from Josh. Dana, can you tell us what's going on down there in Sumter at the moment?
Thanks, Miller. Yeah, from one Met to another, what a difference 9 hours makes. 9 hours ago, Josh Payton and myself were on this street here. This is Lamar Street in downtown Americus. We were withstanding probably winds gusting 60, 70 miles an hour or so. So, like Josh said, we were thinking Sumter County was going to be the hardest hit place in the viewing area, and it didn't disappoint, unfortunately, with some tree and power line damage throughout the entire city of Americus. Of course, the damage in Columbus and Auburn, Opelika, more limited, gust about 40 miles an hour or so there. The official gust here at the Jimmy Carter Airport in Americus, 44 miles an hour before the anemometer failed. So again, we estimate probably 70 mile an hour wind gusts we encountered here around the 8, 9 o'clock hour yesterday as the center passed about 10 miles here to the south and east of the city of Americus. Again, stars are out right now. The sun's going to come up over my shoulder here in the next hour, hour and a half or so. And again, like Josh said, the cleanup will start here in full effect in Americus. Some hard hit areas as well. The Eufaula area in Barber County also saw some heavy damage. Stewart, Webster County also saw some damage as well. So really, the brunt of the damage confined really the southern eastern part of the viewing area with the heaviest damage. And of course, Columbus area seeing some power outages as well, also toward Lee County as well. But again, Michael, the third strongest hurricane by pressure making landfall in the United States in basically the past 100 years. And of course, the damage here in Americas is nothing compared to the catastrophic damage they've experienced in the Florida Panhandle and southwestern Georgia, as well as it maintained major hurricane status all the way into the Lake Seminole area in southwest Georgia. So again, historic storm racing onto the North Carolina vicinity right now. So again, out of our hair. And like Miller said yesterday, it took a hurricane to finally bring fall-like conditions to the area. And we're going to see that today and tomorrow with lows in the 40s as opposed to the hot and humidity we've seen over the past several weeks. Back to you, D. and Miller, WLTZ First News Today. Much more coming up on the damage from Hurricane Michael. Back to you.
Great job. And you and Josh, be careful. There's still the cleanup that has to be done. You know, First News reporter Robbie Watson talked with an evacuee who was desperate. She had to find some place to go. So where was it? She ran into a woman who was visiting family in Dawson, Georgia. Since they lived in a mobile home, they were told they had to get out. The problem was where should they go? A sometimes frightening drive led them to Americus, Georgia.
The police were out and we ended up here.
And you got lucky with a room?
Got lucky with a room, thank God, yes, but it was scary. It was very scary.
And she told us that she felt very blessed that she was even able to find a room that was still available when she reached Americus, Georgia. Hurricane Michael is now Tropical Storm Michael after making landfall as an unprecedented Category 4 hurricane on the Florida Panhandle. Early Wednesday afternoon is when it hit. Florida Governor Rick Scott saying he is disappointed that some people stayed. They didn't get out. But emergency management has begun to rescue those people, many of them stranded right now. Governor Scott gave an update on the devastating impact the storm left on Florida.
Local law enforcement has nearly 1,800 personnel ready to deploy. Right now, utilities are reporting more than 192,000 homes and businesses without power. We'll have updated numbers out to you throughout the night.
Now, there was one, possibly two, but at least one fatality reported in northwest of the area northwest of Tallahassee, Florida. Remember, you can always get the forecast updates. You can watch our newscast. We stream live on your phone or your tablet, so we go with you no matter what's happening. Just download the app from the App Store, and you can keep up to date minute by minute with what's going on. In more news, the president already pledging support for storm victims. A picture of the president aboard Air Force One speaking on the phone with Georgia Governor Nathan Deal. He also spoke with Alabama Governor Kay Ivey and Florida Governor Rick Scott. The president has offered federal resources necessary to the states to rebuild. The president plans to visit areas affected by Hurricane Michael early next week. He also stressed that help is coming to a lot of people who were not able to get out.
It's not so easy for some of these people to leave. Some of the areas are very poor. Not easy for a person without the necessary money to leave. So what we've done is we've sent buses. We've sent a lot of different, we're doing a lot of different things to try and remove people from the area. But a lot of people are very poor in certain of those areas, and it's very tough for them to leave.
Now, Russell County was prepared. It was waiting for Michael. The Red Cross opening its evacuation shelter at the Roy Martin Center off of Airport Road in Phoenix City. Marlena Muma reports that the doors there are still open. If you're looking for shelter, you don't have light, or you need a place to go.
Russell County braced for Hurricane Michael.
We do have a shelter dormitory registration form.
An evacuation shelter opened Tuesday night for anyone seeking refuge from the storm.
We are open 24 hours, just around the clock, so if you need a place, we're open.
Anybody who's uneasy about where they're at, if they don't feel safe there, they are welcome to go to that shelter now.
The Roy Martin Center can hold up to 200 people, and they are equipped with cots, blankets, a TV to keep watch of the weather, snacks, water, and more.
Our cots are set up in here for those who want to rest or sleep during the night.
Russell County Emergency Management Agency is all hands on deck as well.
We do have crews on standby who will be clearing roads as long as it's safe to do so. We'll have extra people on hand on duty to take care of any issues that may arise.
EMA advises you to stay off the road through Thursday morning to make way for emergency vehicles and to keep safe and sheltered from this hurricane.
It's just not a safe thing to do. You know, go home, play a board game, relax, enjoy yourself, and watch the weather. And just stay safe.
Marlena Muma, WLTZ First News.
The offices in the Judicial Building will reopen today at 10 a.m. Troy Phoenix City campus is closed today, but it will open tomorrow. Miller.
Well, Dee, we made it through Wednesday on to Thursday, getting closer and closer to the weekend now. It is October the 11th, National Sausage Pizza Day. 20 days until we get to Halloween, 24 days until we wrap up daylight savings time. Get an extra hour of sleep coming up the first part of November. So he's now a tropical storm Michael, moving northeast at about 21 miles an hour. He's well away from Macon, Georgia now, moving northeast. Max winds of about 50 miles an hour. He's pulling away from us, and that means finally fall weather is on the way. We'll take a look coming up.
You're watching WLTZ First News Today with Dee Armstrong, Josh Pate, and weather with meteorologist Miller Robson.